Hello, dear listeners, and welcome back to Book Summary 5, the 5-Minute Summary channel. I'm Sammy, your host, and today we're diving into one of the most talked about and debated political treatises of all time, The Prince by Niccolò Machiavelli. Written in the early 16th century and published posthumously in 1532, this short but powerful work explores what it takes to gain, hold, and wield power effectively. So let's step into the world of Renaissance politics and walk through the book, so you'll feel like you've read it cover to cover. Machiavelli wrote The Prince during a time of immense political chaos in Italy. Florence, his hometown, had just undergone a major political upheaval, and Machiavelli himself had been dismissed from office and tortured. Desperate to regain favor with the ruling Medici family, he wrote this book as a kind of political manual, a gift of knowledge to those in power, showing them how to rule wisely and, when necessary, ruthlessly. The book opens with a discussion of different types of principalities, or states. Some are inherited, some are newly acquired, and some are a mix of both. Inherited states are easier to govern, Machiavelli says, because people are already used to your family's rule. But new territories present a unique challenge, and that's where most of his advice is focused. For new rulers, he emphasizes the importance of swift and decisive action to establish control. One of the central themes of The Prince is that politics is not about ideals, it's about results. Machiavelli makes a clear distinction between how rulers should act and how they must act to survive and succeed. He famously writes that it is better for a prince to be feared than loved, if he cannot be both. Love is fickle, he argues, but fear is a reliable tool to maintain control, as long as it doesn't turn into hatred. And while that might sound cold, Machiavelli isn't suggesting cruelty for its own sake. He's suggesting that calculated, strategic actions, some of them morally questionable, are often necessary to protect the state and the people in the long run. For example, he recommends that any cruel acts a ruler must commit be done all at once, early in their rule, so the people can recover and move on. Kindness, on the other hand, should be spread out over time to maintain goodwill. Another striking idea in the book is Machiavelli's focus on appearances. A good ruler, he says, must learn how to appear virtuous even if they aren't always acting virtuously. People judge with their eyes more than their minds, so reputation can be as important as truth. A prince should appear generous, compassionate, and fair, but behind the curtain he must be prepared to act shrewdly, even deceptively, when the situation demands it. Machiavelli also delves into the role of fortune, or luck. He describes fortune as a force like a wild river. It can be destructive and unpredictable, but a wise prince anticipates its floods and builds levees. In other words, while some events are outside your control, a great leader prepares and adapts. This idea leads to one of his most enduring lessons: Virtù, or the combination of boldness, strength, and cunning needed to navigate an uncertain world. He draws heavily on historical and contemporary examples, referencing figures like Alexander the Great, Cesare Borgia, and even Julius Caesar. Cesare Borgia, in particular, is praised for his ruthless but effective strategies to gain power and eliminate his enemies. While Machiavelli doesn't necessarily glorify these figures, he studies them as models of realpolitik, the art of practical, unsentimental governance. Towards the end of the book, Machiavelli makes a patriotic appeal. He urges a strong ruler to rise up and unify Italy, which was fractured and vulnerable to foreign powers at the time. This gives the book a passionate and almost romantic undertone, contrasting with the cool pragmatism of much of its content. What makes The Prince so enduring and so controversial is its raw honesty. Machiavelli doesn't sugarcoat politics. He acknowledges that sometimes good people must make hard choices. His goal isn't to craft a perfect society. It's to help leaders maintain order in a flawed world. And for that, his book has been praised, condemned, misunderstood, and endlessly debated for centuries. In summary, The Prince is not just a handbook for rulers, it's a mirror held up to power itself. Machiavelli's ideas continue to challenge us to think critically about leadership, ethics, and human nature. Whether you see him as a cynical manipulator or a clear-eyed realist, one thing is certain: Machiavelli changed the conversation about politics forever. Thank you for tuning in to Book Summary 5, the 5-Minute Summary channel. If you found this journey into Renaissance statecraft fascinating, please subscribe, like, and share it with your friends. Until next time, happy reading.